operating.
Blue Hack Mafia, what's up? Canada is here, you can start now. Yeah, I was going to start with or without the imaginary line in the snow's approval.
Did you hear that Canada has a task force preparing for the collapse of the American government?
Why don't you say that again? That's a great way to start this live stream.
Is this from QAnon? Is this from Q?
That is prepared when it comes to the situation of dealing with the collapse of the American federal government.
I guarantee
So-
they're prepared to come to Paris.
So based upon this reporting, we've been receiving reports of stockpiling of maple syrup.
No, they released their strategic reserves.
Strategic
To bring down the cost of maple syrup.
That on Main Street.
It's not working, but they tried.
Canada has strategic reserves reserves of maple syrup.
Yeah.
Like we would do oil, they were like, hey, pancakes.
They turned it into maple ice cream.
So everybody's been saying, hard time hearing you, microphone doesn't work. Hey, I'm doing the best I can with what I got. I have no idea. This is a new phone that I got specifically for doing this. If it don't work, I'm out of options.
Check
Okay?
your volume.
Yeah, also turn your volume up.
That would be a good thing.
So,
Check your
who cares what kind of phone this is? Nice green screen. What's up,
My-
baby?
my phone.
Y'all want to say hi?
Twitch is in his green screen. Shalom.
I'm a digital population.
Stephen C says the mic is fine. There you go.
Look at all these NPCs.
Twitch twitching is not a glitch.
Shalom, Hunter Seeker. Shalom, brother. Boom. Got it. So, yeah, so we're going to do the live stream tonight. It's a Q&A live stream. We're going to talk a little bit about our experience at the Primary Arms Range Day today. The primary rule on live stream is y'all be nice to one another, okay? Don't be an a-hole. Don't be a jerk in the comments. Don't be a jerk to me. Don't be a jerk to the people above you or below you in the comments. If you have a question, put it in all caps. If I see it and want to answer it, I will. If I see it and don't want to answer it, I won't. If I don't see it, I can't, okay? So, that's how that works. What's up, Dr. Trevor? Shalom to all the Blue Ranches.
ABT's in the chat.
Yep. ABT is what's up. What's up, boss man? So, we are around Houston, Texas today at the Primary Arms Range Day we were invited to. It's today and tomorrow, but we will be leaving early tomorrow so that, what's up, Coach and Dad? So that we can get home before the sun goes down because we observe the Sabbath. So most of what we did was done today. It was a good time. We met a bunch of people that we wanted to meet, reconnected with a bunch of people that we wanted to reconnect with. Twitch got to yell at Mac Military Arms channel.
Nope.
Put tourniquets on.
He's really cool, by the way, in person.
Yeah. Can y'all hear Twitch?
Y'all hear me?
Hurry up, you're quiet.
I don't know why, but they're saying that they can hear me really well, and they can't hear you very well.
So that's something that people have said before. Like,
I think I said that before. It
can
was
hear the-
me.
now we're muted, then we're unmuted. Tactically tore. Yes, barely. Hey, I don't know why it decided to use the microphone on the other side of the phone, but oops, because Barry's so soft-spoken. That's me. Okay, watch this. So, say what you were gonna say.
I was saying that Mac from Military Arms Channel, he's a really cool guy in person, and I got the opportunity to yell at him about tourniquet stuff, and he got the opportunity to fail at putting one on himself, but he even said, admittedly, he's like, I was at the Marine Corps 30 years ago, that's before cats existed, cat tourniquets. So he did good, and then I got him to put one on me twice, and then he left with a tourniquet, and he's a cool dude.
Mm-hmm. That picture, I believe, is already up on Instagram. Go check out Refuge Medical on Instagram.
So, let's see what else. There, for and this is not me ragging on Primary Arms. This is me ragging on the gun industry and the gun tuber industry. There were a Tomahawk. I appreciate the money. Oh, I have ideas for flags, and I will not discuss them here, but I will let Howitzer explain what his flag means, which has been the backdrop of my live streams here lately, in a moment. Now, as I was saying, this is a strike against the gun community and the gun tuber community. Nobody has blowout kits. Nobody. We were around hundreds of firearms today, tens of thousands of rounds expelled.
Machine guns among them.
Machine guns, precision weapons, carbines, pistols, SBRs, the whole thing. I think there was one first aid kit that they said had a tourniquet with it.
I actually saw one. I saw one.
You saw it. You laid eyes on it. Good. Other than that, we had all the medical gear. We had 90+% of the medical gear that was on site there, walking around.
35 pounds.
And so the whole community has got its head up its butt right now as far as the need for medical equipment. And it's really sad because there were quite a few potentially dangerous situations today, including somebody firing rounds while the range was cold and somebody was downrange adjusting targets.
I witnessed that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And mistakes happen. I'm not saying it was intentional, but that's why you have a blowout kit. It was, the industry just doesn't get it, and it's because it's not sexy.
Primary Arms, though, as a whole, is awesome.
Yes,
I like it.
great company,
Yeah.
great company, good people, excellent products. I saw specifically very interested in the new SLX 1-8 that they have coming out with the ACSS Griffin mill reticle in it. Dude, I was shooting 5.56 at 700 meters today, and it was badass.
Well, T, you got to think about it. When you think about preparedness and what it is that you're going to do, all of us never let our fuel tanks go below half a tank because we know the problem of letting it go down to empty. And if a fuel station is closed or a Shabbat or something like that, then we'll run into a problem. A lot of people here, they don't get to see trauma happen all the time, and so I guarantee you quite a few of the people that were there, they have medical kits. Their medical kits were in their vehicles parked 400-500 yards away,
Yeah.
where you had to get in a vehicle around to the range. So if something was to happen, they would first look around. Oh, where is EMS? EMS isn't here. Oh,
They weren't actually there at all. I didn't
Yeah,
see anything.
that's a good
It's
point.
such an inconvenience to keep a medical kit in your pants pocket. Oh, well, I like wearing the super tight skinny jeans, or I like wearing pants that are a second
Man,
skin. Like, you know, it's like, get cargo pants.
Right.
Or a belt, something.
But
like you're at the range.
even then, they have all this gear, all this equipment, have a range bag with a medical kit sitting right there on top of it. They people there didn't even have that. I'm like, oh, well, nobody's going to get hurt here. As they're well, this isn't TikTok, so I can do this. Oh, hey, you.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, don't even.
There, hold on.
Like, hey, oh, it's
hold on.
empty. You don't have to worry.
Let Bob
man.
talk about this.
It's
All right.
empty.
All right.
What?
So I'm not going to name any names because that's not important, because this is an industry-wide problem. We talked about the source of it is a lot of these guys were salesmen, and I think that salesmen,
Admittedly.
admittedly, I think that
yes.
salesmen for different manufacturers should get more training, because I personally was flagged in the face 3 times, and I had to walk away because I was literally about to blast the dude, like in the face. Like I'm done. Like, I couldn't do it.
But it's empty.
It's unloaded. Although I had 2 Glock mags right there. I had a rifle mag right here. And, I even asked that tent later on. I said, hey, do you guys have a blowout kit? And they said, a what? And I said, a trauma kit. And they're like, a what? Which shows a problem in the culture as well as the industry, because it is an industry, and we were talking about that. rather than I think that specific person, because if it was an industry standard, they would be doing it because they follow the industry standards, as does every other industry. So firearm safety is a thing. Do it.
Yep.
It exists.
That's why OSHA is strict. That's why there's an ANSI standard. The gun community needs to have a standard. You have a standard for your ammunition. You need to have a standard for your protocols, safety and security.
I agree with that. And that's part of what we're. Hey, what's up, the Iridium Group?
You were on live earlier when we were there.
We need to make being prepared to save lives sexy or an industry standard. Stand by to get some. Amen.
It's not
So-
cool to have to put a tourniquet on somebody. It's
Hey,
cool
you
to
know
shoot
what's-
this sweet
You
4.5
what's
pound
super
AR
cool?
though.
Not dying.
Yeah.
Keeping the blood inside of your body is super sexy.
Watching your kids graduate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Super sexy.
Because
yeah.
corpses are not sexy.
You know what else is sexy though? Some good dang optics. I really like
Yep.
the Prism 1 power.
Yep. I love that 1 power prism is awesome. It's just impossible to get. Right
That
now.
might get my money at some point.
They sent me one for review,
I like the
and
three,
I was
man.
like, I can't make a video on this. They're like, why? I was like, because it's never in stock. There's no point in me talking about it. It's never in stock.
I like this.
So anyway, phenomenal optics. But yeah, the gun industry as a whole needs to wake up to the fact that you're selling weapons. They're not toys. They're not, people like to refer to them as tools. They're weapons. They're for letting the blood out of bad guys. That's what they're for. That's why we have them. That's why it's in the Constitution. It's not for hunting. It's not for recreation. It's not for sport. It's for letting the blood out of bad guys. That's why it's there. So if we have these tools that we acknowledge, the reason they exist is for letting the blood out of bad guys, shouldn't we have a way to keep the blood inside the good guys? It's as simple as that. And the industry really needs to wake up and get on board. Now, that being said, the people that we had contact with today, I'd say was at least 90% positive.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
At least
I
90%
asked the
positive.
people we got to hanging out with in Boston. In fact, my day started in the awesome level.
Oh, yeah,
by this
talk about that.
9-year-old, a literal 9-year-old young lady, because I can't just call her a kid or a girl. This is not justice. Autumn's Army.
Great kid.
Yes.
Yeah, oh
Great
my God.
young
I'm
lady.
glad that I recognize her.
Dude, I
Walking
am
past,
too.
like,
Hold
hey.
on. Explain how that went down.
So we literally encountered her because Dudley over here has got a refuge medical shirt on.
No,
at a gas station.
No, I recognize her.
Okay.
Then said, "Hey, are you that little girl that shoots?" And her dad was like, "Oh yeah." And then they walked away. Then they came back. Was like, "Is that a Refuge Medical shirt?" And I say, "Yes, yes it is." Are y'all in Oklahoma? Yes, we are. Hey, we live in Oklahoma too. What? Oh, we need to be friends.
Yeah, he
Neighbors.
said that.
Yep.
He said, "Oh, I recognize your sign on your building." I said, "Uh-huh."
Yes.
It's the one that says "Go away, we don't sell weed." And he's like, "Yeah." It's like, so we're in Houston, Texas, and we met our neighbor. So total yachting beginning the day. And so continue now.
Yeah, so again, that conversation happened in a parking lot of a gas station, and then we go to the site, and we happen to park at the same time. They park right next to us. We hop out, we talk about medical kits, and I asked this young lady, because we watched videos after we left her at the gas station. I was like, this kid can shoot. Oh my gosh, can she shoot? And not just for a kid, she can really shoot. And real confident too. So we get out.
Great
and
attitude
Yeah,
also.
great attitude, Cole. And props to the parents, man. So I asked her, have you ever seen a tourniquet before? And she's like, no. And I asked your dad, I was like, do you mind if I show her what a tourniquet is? He goes, right on. And so I pull mine out of my pocket, and we do a live demo right there. So I get on my knees, and she ends up
Because she's
doing-
3 foot tall.
Because she's tiny.
Yes.
And so I get her to put a tourniquet on my arm, and that kid did a better job than most adults do. She was freaking awesome.
Hi, babe. I love you. I was told of your presence in the chat by my brother over here.
And the final thing was she left with my tourniquet.
Hold on. Good evening, Bear Nation. Had to use my Bear Fact today at school. I got it almost 2 years ago and never needed it until I did. James Randolph, praise the Father that you had it. Send it, even if it's aid rendered is not a life saved. If you could just please send me the after action report to admin@refugemedical.com. We'd love to hear that stuff. By the way, we're up to life 41 saved, which we'll talk about here in a minute. So you go ahead and finish your story.
Yeah, so that was pretty much it. You know, we did a real quick, like 5 to 10 minute max description and demo of tourniquet application. She did a fantastic job applying it. I have tourniquet bite from it. That and the 2 or 3 other times we did that same deal with other people. And she was the first one. And so that started off the day on the right foot.
Yes.
And I gave this 9-year-old young lady who goes and shoots more than most of us do, a tourniquet. And to me, it probably meant way more to me than it did her. It meant a lot to me. It's
And
like, that's the kind of kids that we need in the world.
go check out a little snippet of that on Refuge Medical on Instagram. If you don't know how to spell it, it looks like this.
And we don't sell weed.
No, we don't sell weed.
I watched that little girl run and gun an MP5 today.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to teach my 1-year-old better.
Checking my spirit, I was like, I'm failing as a dad, man.
So, Howitzer, would you explain your flag since that question came up earlier?
That came up. All right. So the star is representative of liberty and justice. The rattlesnake skull and the cannon is for righteous fury. It's a symbol of righteous fury. There's a lot of American historical connotations with that. The broken heart. Open your eyes, look at the nation, look at the state of the world. If your heart's not broken for what future our children are going to inherit, I don't know what to say to you. If you feel it here, then you know. I don't need to tell you what it means. When the black is strength, the white is hope, which is a double-edged sword, because it allows people to either sit back and do nothing, or it causes people to push forward and push harder than they think they can. And then the red is valor and bravery.
Thank you, brother.
We fear nothing other than our Elohim.
Amen. And that flag, you can get it at bearindependent.com because our stores are linked. And so, because I've had a bunch of y'all asking, hey, where do I get that flag from?
The Make Us edition there's only 11 in the world, and that's it.
Oh, there's only 11 in the world.
11 in the world, and
I
that's
have
it.
2 of them. Bless you, brother. So James, actually, I've been informed by my staff, so I knew about life number 41, but I didn't know it was James. And so James is life number 41. In a nutshell, he, so truck school, CDL school, I believe it is, and guy was taking some trash out to a dumpster, and there were 2 feral pit bulls out by the dumpster, and they attacked this guy and tore up his forearm and his calf. And when they tore up his calf, they ripped the meat and the artery out. And so dog attack, and James was able to get his bareback out of his vehicle off the headrest, great place for it, and apply a tourniquet, save the guy's life, use a pressure bandage on the arm. So great jobs, James. Foe has already been in contact to replace all of your stuff, and we appreciate you for doing good work with our kit. Like it's the best thing in the world.
You gotta respect dogs, man.
Yeah, so you could say that again.
Hi.
Hello! Man, I get all kinds of views. So, if you ever come to one of my Responder 1 classes, we go over my dog life. And it was right on my here portion of my tattoo. And mine wasn't near that bad, but it was right by the artery. Thankfully, it was not the artery, but it could have been. And I go through kind of the ifs and buts of how that went. Guys, the thing has knives in its mouth, and that's all it knows how to use.
Yeah.
It's to be respected, just like a knife or a gun. So, and they're a little finickier. If I set my Glock on this table, it doesn't go anywhere without me, right? That dog is autonomous.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always do what somebody tells it to. So
It's a good point. Yeah, I just thought of something too, completely unrelated, but I was looking at your shirt. David used a rock, I used a Glock. The Pew Pew Jew, we met him today as well, Yehuda. Cool dude.
yeah, he was.
Had a conversation about Torah, had a conversation about firearms in America, and just good dude,
Sanctified
man.
Supply Code.
Sanctified Supply Co. Right, you get that shirt at
Gun control is unclean.
Yeah, gun control isn't kosher. Which is funny because he's got a swine with a no sign through it. Yeah. Speaking of medical, received a birth bucket yesterday. Thanks for another good kit. Hey, thank you very much for buying it, and bless the sisters for coming up with it.
Yeah,
That was totally their idea. They're like, hey, we think this is going to be a good bucket. Put it together and let me know. And
hey,
they,
we've had babies.
yeah,
It's legit, dude. We
Yeah.
used one before it was a thing.
yeah, you
Yeah.
used the prototype birthing bucket.
Yep.
So, thank you, Carrie. I appreciate y'all. So I'm gonna. Do we have any questions? Have I missed any questions yet?
Not thus far. Been just a lot of everybody saying hi to everybody, checking in, stuff like that. Someone asked, is there a Twitch channel? There's a channel, I think, for every person.
Sure.
Boom!
Faith.
It's already got dropped for William.
Right there.
Shield
That's-
bearer of faith.
That's Twitch.
Shield bearer of faith.
Yeah, I just posted one this morning for YouTube. I've got a Patreon as well, same name. The one this morning on YouTube was talking about that mass shooting
Yep.
in Texas.
Yep.
That's Twitch.
A lot to talk
Spammed
about
in the
that.
chat.
We'll be talking about that again tomorrow morning on the brief as well.
Yep.
More information
Love the
to
thoughts
come.
on Uvalde. Thank you, Liberty Off-Road. Let's see. Have you tried the SLX Micro Prism? I own one. I love it. It's just hard to get your hands on.
I
But
shot it a couple times today on various rifles. I like it.
it's great. It's a great optic. The 1X with the ACSS in it. It's got your holds built into it.
I like the ×3, man. But I'm used to fixed magnification though. I love
Let's
it.
see. Stay Survive said the art video was way more epic than I was ready for. Good
That's
job,
right.
Twitch.
That's right.
Yeah, Twitch did that.
We
That was
scared
awesome.
all the people in the neighborhood.
What platform was that on? Because I don't think I saw
YouTube.
it.
So
YouTube.
the encouraging community said, when I purchase a bear fac, I'm gonna add a dechoker to it for if someone
Yes.
around me is choking on something.
If they
I-
send
my,
you one.
my wife and I
So-
did that.
100% you should get a dechoker. It will not fit in the pouch of the bear fac,
No.
but you should 100% get a dechoker. In fact, dechoker, if you're listening, you make it very difficult to do business with you, even though I'm a huge proponent of your products. In fact, I believe they owe us product.
Yep.
Yes.
We have placed an order that has not been filled yet. So,
Do the right thing to choker.
yeah, be righteous, dechoker.
Let your yes be yes.
In fact, we had to have conversations with a couple different vendors today.
Yep.
Said, hey,
You
y'all
friends or not?
y'all been ghosting us. You
Mhm.
want to be friends and do capitalism, or do you not want to be friends and do capitalism? And they're like, and see, that's the thing, you know, it's a lot like comments on the internet, right? Emails are basically just one-to-one comments on the internet. You can say whatever you want until there's somebody standing looking at you in the eye. Are we going to do this or not? It's a whole different thing.
Well, and that dechoker stuff, man. So I had somebody ask on TikTok and for the company on the webpage. It was passed on to me. I gave my take on the dechoker stuff, and I gave a brief snippet of the testimony, and I shared in all the responder ones now about my nephew. If you haven't seen a situation with a kid that you really wish you had to have one, it'll change your world.
Yep.
So
Yeah, get them. We are huge fans of the dechoker. I just wish they would fill our order. It's only been a couple months, right? 2-3 months.
Yep, something like that.
And listen, we're also subject to supply chains. I get it, but communicate. If you know, because you guys write to us all the time. They're like, "Hey, I placed my order on X date. Can I get an update?" Absolutely. Here's the update.
Yep.
Happy to take care of you. If you need anything else, let us know. But if my emails get no response whatsoever from you, it makes it very difficult for me all of a sudden to feel confident about you. Dudley's got his finger up.
I got a public service announcement to all of you out there in Bear Nation. Right now, I am spamming the chat. It is with this YouTube channel for Bug Out Bob. He's stuck at 971. It's 500 of you out there. Get him to 1,000 right now.
Do what you want. This is not an order. Do what you want. You're a free American. Follow me or don't. I don't care.
Go to Bug Out Bob and subscribe. Don't listen to him.
I don't care.
somebody else had a question that I swatted there briefly. What is your thoughts on changing over to the
year,
seal?
bro.
Oh, my thoughts on the Army changing over to the
YouTube
SIG.
does not grow very well.
That's a good
anymore.
question. So I will answer this question with a major caveat. I have neither handled the M5, the M50, nor know anybody personally who has. Comma, the logistics effort that it's going to take to switch over from 7.6251 to 6.8 by 51, aka the SIG 277, and that's going to be a big deal.
Right before what's going on.
Right,
too.
but so here's the thing, right? There's two distinct advantages that 80,000 PSI round gives us. The first is an effective range of 800 meters, which 308 already did. The second is the ability to defeat body armor, which 308 wasn't going to do for us. And so the Army's argument was that our near peers have an effective range of 300 to 500 meters. When you combine the M5 rifle, the new SIG rifle, with the new Vortex optic that has the BDC automatically built into it. It's an electronic reticle.
It does it all for you.
It does it all for you. It's just point and click, right? That gives us an effective range of 800 meters. And as we've seen today, 800 meters with a good cartridge and a good reticle is not.
nothing.
It's not a big deal.
It's nothing.
It's not. If your marksmanship fundamentals are good, you're good to go. Shalom whip.
a good scope,
so-
a good target. and-
Who made a ding pop at 1,000 today?
Good job, Dudley.
I did.
Good job,
I think
Dudley.
everybody did.
Yeah,
So-
we all hit it 1,000.
So, the next issue
Didn't take us a whole
that I
mag
have
to
with
do
it,
it.
besides logistics, is the three-piece case. I see an issue with, because you've got a stainless steel primer pocket, right? You've got a brass case, and then you've got a stainless steel ring that joins the stainless steel primer pocket, the base of the case, to the brass case. That's going to be difficult to manufacture, and it's one thing to make 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 rounds of that. It's another thing to make billions of those rounds. And SIG has a corner on the market on that as well. It's also interesting that the Army's request specifically named a .277 caliber, knowing that the SIG Fury, chambered in .277 SIG, was already out. That's collusion, maybe, but it was already out. So they wanted a 6.8 cartridge.
Austrian collusion.
So the next thing is, so you got a stainless steel case, or the back end of the case is made out of stainless steel. Your extractors are going to get chewed up like whoa. You got 80,000 PSI operating pressures. Parts are probably going to break. And I know SIG says they've had certain guns, I think, that they ran 50,000 rounds through with nothing but routine maintenance, no issue. Again, as you scale that, right? Because the original Bearfac, I was able to take super duper amounts of time with that. If it took as much time to produce Bearfacs now as it and praise God, we still make awesome products. But our time per Bearfac, because of economy of scale, is way lower now than it was when we first got started. As you scale that, and as you sub that out, because SIG isn't, what is it, 200,000 rifles? 250,000 rifles? Okay,
Something
and
like
let's,
machine gun range too is a different number.
yeah, and the 250s, I don't know, I think it's 20,000, 25,000 belt feds. So my point here is, as you scale that and you bring subcontractors in, that introduces complexity, which is guaranteed no matter what industry you're in, to create more opportunities for failure. And it is designed to be shot with a suppressor. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, and it's a blow-through suppressor. Well, what happens when the suppressors wear out? So really where SIG is at, where they're gonna make their money with this, is on the PMCS. The upkeep of these rifles is where they're gonna make their money on this, and they have a monopoly on the ammunition. So that being said, and we go from, yes, we get another 300 meters of effective range. Yes, we have the ability to defeat light body armor. But we're going back to essentially a 308 cartridge. So instead of 20 round magazines that weigh 30 round magazines that weigh 1 pound, we have 20 round magazines that weigh 1.5 pounds. So we're getting back into a situation where we're going to be loading soldiers down with a whole bunch of weight.
And the gun itself is heavy too.
Right, which is a major issue. You look at like 10th Mountain, when they first went into Afghanistan, they had 157 pounds of issued gear.
Yep.
And they were able to cut that down to 90, but they were still rolling around in the mountains with 90 pounds of gear. And
Dude, my rucksack's like
firepower versus mobility, at some point, there's an argument to be made for, yeah, these are cool guns and all, but if I can get inside of 300 meters, and that's probably where I want to be if we're going to do actions on the objective anyway, it might be 3 meters. Right? And so at some point, at 3 meters, who cares if the gun has an effective range of 800 meters? Who cares if it defeats light body armor? And BT dubs, we've had this conversation a lot at this channel. Cute body armor, bro. Pelvic girdle's real.
Yeah.
The pelvic girdle is real. I'm not going to shoot you in the chest. I'm going to shoot you in your left ball socket of your hip and your right ball socket of your hip, and then the forehead. So.
Another thing I have as a concern as far as complexities is not just the round, but that optic is going to be extremely complex.
Yeah. Oh, and what happens when the batteries don't work?
Or let's say, okay, well maybe somebody's going to throw in, well, it's got this kind of exceptional battery. It's still a computer on a weapon that is going to be toted around by 18-year-old guys that are fresh out of high school, and they're not going to take care of it.
Yep.
So
dude.
me, it's not going to hold up.
Hold on. We have a comment.
We would literally throw our M4s and our M16s into the back of the 7-ton truck when we got a march order, because it's like, you gotta move. I care about the cannon. I don't care about this rifle. Chuck it. There it goes.
Yep.
So back to you, T.
Yeah, and procurement costs, upkeep costs, all that. I honestly think it's way too early to tell. You know, did we just make a super fancy M14? That's my question.
I think that's probably going to be it. It's also
Barry-
got no testing in the real world right now.
Shalom, Mark O'Connor. Cot Lumba. Juice may not be with the squeeze. Shalom, Jay Johns. Exactly, brother. So, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully, because I know there's also a program. It's basically a barrel and a bolt swap on the 240 Bravo to rechamber it to 6.8 by 51, because it's the same case length. It's the same, it's a barrel essentially.
Now, but that changeover is supposed to be lighter.
Yeah,
That changeover.
but here's the thing: 50 to 55,000 psi operating pressure of 308 76251 versus 80,000 psi on the 6.8 by 51. So those guns were not built for 80,000 psi. They were built for 55,000 psi. So you're going to see a lot of wear and tear on the 240 Bravo. But my selfish hope in all of this is that there will be a rash of surplus M80 ball on the market, which I'm all over that.
Give me a 55-gallon drum of that stuff.
I'm all over that. So, and potentially 5.56. And the other thing to remember is, like, Big Army is called Big Army for a reason. 200,000 rifles does not outfit Big Army. Just say nothing in the Marine Corps, Air Force Security Forces. That, like, it's a drop in the bucket. And that's why I think maybe what we're seeing is a new M14 right now. And the M14 took, what was it, 12 years, 11 or 12 years for them to finally get it into production. And basically what they did was put a box magazine on an M1 Garand and chamber it in 308 instead of 30-06. So we'll see. Because what's the SIG, the new SIG weapon is basically a short barrel AR-10 chambered in a fancy caliber. It's not astounding new technology. It's 70-year-old. Eugene Stoner came up with this concept 70 years ago. It's not new.
Do you want to say for whoever's watching that, if they want to send you one, we'll happily shoot it.
SIG,
Oh,
if
of
you
course.
want to send me yours and a crate of ammo, I'm happy to break it in the Oklahoma Red Dirt. I'm happy to break it.
And I'll film it.
Yeah, and Howitzer's in, and Dudley will film it.
I'm
So-
good at breaking stuff.
I'm not in. I just That's where
Well,
I
and,
draw
and
the
to
line.
that point, Mike Yoder said, I bought my Saint for $700. So check this out. Somebody earlier asked the question, hey, what's a good scope for a DMR rifle? I have on my Palmetto State Armory, okay, budget rifle, Palmetto State Armory Gen 2 PA-10, AR-10 platform. It does have the 20-inch FN cold hammer forged barrel in it. I have on that the, I believe it's the SLX 6-24 from Primary Arms. It is astounding. I got it zeroed at 100, and with the Mark 118 LR, or the M118 LR, the 175 grain Sierra Match Kings, I was shooting the center out of the 1 MOA red dots at the 12, 6, 3, and 9 position on the target without trying. And that's that gun all in. The scope's $700. The gun, after being dressed up like a Barbie doll, was 11 or 12. Call it $2,000, all in, with mags and sling and the whole nine. $2,000 all in, and it's. If I decided I wanted to shoot the top of this lighter at 100 yards, no problem. If I decided I want to shoot this lighter at 100 yards, no problem. If I decided I want to shoot this water bottle at 4, as long as the wind is holding, no problem. And that's another thing that we should probably talk about is the primary arms. And not for primary arms themselves, but another thing in the industry here, I was unaware of it, but Bob pointed out to me afterwards. I was shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor semi-automatic at 400, and I shot 3 or 4 rounds in as many seconds. Ting, 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 ting. And I was like, oh yeah, this is a good gun. Okay, clear the weapon, step away. And so,
What was your observation on that?
So we were all stepping up, and we were like the first ones up in the long range booth, which was sweet, and we made a good connection with Steven, who was up there running it.
You mean we boxed everyone out?
Yeah, we boxed everyone out. And
We did us.
Yeah, we did us.
Gotta bring
and,
enough people to do that, though.
Steven was spotting for us, and he was an awesome dude with primary
We were
arms. He
openly
was in
carrying
development,
guns. They were not
so
gonna
like
argue
he's
with
actually
us.
working on designing these optics, which is sweet. He was an amazing spotter.
Yeah, he
And
did a great job making calls.
And an amazing spotter will make you a 10 times better shooter, right? So
I would love to design a
Um,
scope with them.
I think Yank went first, and he was tinging, right? And he's just taking his time, and he's shooting and stuff like that. And then Twitch went and he like dumped like 2 mags, which is not the standard, but we're us, and so
I was like,
he
hey,
just
they
did
got
it.
more of that, right?
It's 6.5, it's $2 a round, it's fine.
I did get it to 1,000 though.
Yeah, and he bumped it out to 1,000. Everybody bumped out to 1,000, which is
Yep.
sweet. So then T steps up and he's like, "Where's it zeroed?" They're like, "It's zeroed at 4." And so he like goes on to 400 and it's like, geez. Everybody, like everyone's up there at this point because like we'd been shooting for a minute. Everyone stopped. It was as if someone had called a ceasefire and looks over like, how did you just do that? Like, how is that possible? And I just started laughing. 'Cause it's like, that's what that thing is supposed to do.
Yep.
Like, that's what that's designed to do, is put rounds on target quickly at a long distance. And it was like, Steven, he knows his stuff, he's like, that's how you shoot, like 100%. So it was really funny. And an industry thing right now is like, people show themselves shooting and they don't show the target afterwards.
Oh,
Yep.
no.
And you get to see who can shoot and who can't shoot really quickly.
And there's a lot of them can't shoot.
And I saw a 9-year-old today, a 9-year-old girl whoop some grown men ass today on the range.
And then if you look just past where that young lady was, I tended to be in the background somewhere grinning ear to ear because that was freaking awesome. I was sitting there like, what?
Well, and so to take that even further down that logical path, right? Because in the Second Amendment community, which I'm a fan of the Second Amendment. What's up, luxurious, the luxurious bastard? By the way, got your beard oil in my beard. Appreciate you. This is a Tabaka special. Thank you.
Luxurious bastard, help me out.
Yeah, you just you got to grow a beard first, and then you can put some stuff in it.
2017.
Okay, so show.
I got married September 7th, 2017. That was the last time any type of razor or cutting utensil has touched this beard. Luxurious bastard, what do I need to put in here to make it grow?
Dudley, do I have a better beard than you right now?
And
Oh, yeah.
and I shaved 3 hours ago.
Hasn't been touched.
I got forbade.
Somebody asked in the chat, how long have you been growing your beard?
This has been since late fall of last year.
I just saw a video pop up 2 years ago. You don't even look like the same guy.
I know.
What scope was on the 6.5?
That was the 6-24. It's the same one that I've got on my 308. But so here's the thing in the 2A community, right? You know, these rights we will defend. You can't hit. You don't PT. You don't have a first aid kit. You're not going to defend anything, homie. And it just becomes a talking point.
Only thing you're defending is Doritos.
And like Brother Alex likes to say, you can't win a fight with yourself while you're sitting on the couch eating donuts. What makes you think you're going to win a fight with the government? The answer is you're not. Because you're not disciplined enough to win a fight with your alarm clock. Yeah, ouch. But he's good at ouch. So, but it's one of the things that I particularly have an issue with in the 2A gun tuber community is the glorification of these weapons as toys. They are not. They're not toys, and I don't mean like all firearms are dangerous and they should always be treated as unloaded. You know, 5 basic rules of firearms handling safety. That's not what I mean. They're weapons. They exist for a reason. They're not to be glorified. They're not to be idolized. They exist for a very specific reason, and there's not enough people in the Second Amendment community talking about that. The Second Amendment is not so you can look cool on Instagram. It's not so that you can get sweet affiliate deals on the internet to make some money. That's not what it's about. And make no mistake, it is 100% an industry. It is an industry of people who are in this. And that's why you see the marketing guys at the booths, because they don't have the skills or the knowledge to operate the platforms. And so at an event at a place like what we were at today, or the Epic Shoot from Big Daddy Unlimited or anybody else, what they're trying to do is find people that would be good brand representatives for them to market their product to you. So that when Garantham holds a gun up on video, which by the way, he works for Leviathan Group, which is 100% a marketing group, it costs $10,000 over the course of 3 months to get your product into their hands. Yes, ask me how I know. When they want to sell this lighter, because Garantham holds it up, that was a minimum of a $30,000 investment to show this thing on camera in a video so that people will go buy that thing. That's called third-party advertising, and it is 100% a part of the industry. Make no mistake, you are being marketed to by people that don't give a shit about the Second Amendment community, wouldn't know how to use that weapon to defend their life if their life depended on it, and are probably not as ideologically aligned with you as you think they are.
Yeah.
So,
And clarify, when I'm talking about Garantham specifically,
I don't have a problem with him.
Yeah,
I have a
that's not
problem with the way that entire operation works.
Yeah, because I actually think he presents a pretty good demeanor and good info on the stuff. It kind of moves his way now.
He's trying to push some good info too.
He is, but he's also, like you were just pointing out, he is pushing a lot of product as well. And so that's part of how that man is making his living. So we have to know that. You know?
Yeah.
I think it's just knowing ahead of time. It doesn't mean you don't watch. I like watching stuff. It's just you got to know that.
Well, that's why, you know, love him or hate him. That's why I like Nut and Fancy, because you don't see anything on Nut and Fancy's channel that somebody sent him. He bought it, he tests it, and his reviews come out a year, sometimes 2 years later than everybody else's, because he's been beating the piss out of it for the last year. By the way, let's talk about this. Some of y'all may remember about 3 months ago, the Springfield Hellion bullpup. Every gun tuber channel that was on YouTube in the same week all dropped their Springfield, and so much so that Ian McCullum from Forgotten Weapons had a video that week about it as well. I'm like, damn it, Ian, I love you, man. What are you doing? Why are you in on this, right?
Somebody told you to drop that this week.
Every channel dropped the Springfield Hellion video in the same week so that they could get that grassroots upswell of interest in their product so people would go buy it. I shot it today. It weighs more than my AR-10. The battery of arms on it sucks, and it was completely unenjoyable to shoot, and the trigger is horrendous. It might be an 18-pound trigger pull. It's terrible.
Was that the thing at the Surefire booth?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Surefire had it
yes.
with
gosh.
cans on it.
It
is,
was like a FAMAS.
It is an abomination of a weapon.
You
It
said
is
you thought that
horrendous.
the safety was on, right?
Yeah,
Because it wouldn't pull.
No, that was a Daniel Defense
Oh, never
rifle.
mind. Oh,
That was a Daniel Defense rifle.
Cool thing
So-
about that also, heaven forbid you have to switch sides and go to weak side, or you're a left-handed shooter like me. There's nothing like getting a bunch of grass and gas in your face because the ejecting port is right here.
Well, Bob, you can take it apart and then switch all of that stuff over to the other side.
Guys, stop the firefight. I have to switch to weak side.
They had some of the lightest guns, not Springfield, but like at the event today, we had some of the lightest guns I've ever put my hands on.
Yep.
There was one, I put my pinky up beside the barrel. I've never seen a barrel so thin. It was like almost the diameter that would be scientifically required to shoot a 5.56.
That
Yep.
there would be no accuracy at range with that because
Yep.
when you shoot, the barrel goes
Barrel
like this.
harmonics,
That's
yep.
what. Well, that's
It was
that
impressive.
enhanced lightweight barrel I have from BCM does that.
Yep.
At 100 yards, I'm at a dinner plate group.
Yep.
It's awful.
It had a ejection port cover made of clear plastic, and it had a carbon fiber for it.
Yep.
Yeah, it had
Very
a carbon.
light.
It had a carbon fiber handguard. It had a carbon fiber pistol grip, carbon fiber buttstock, and I don't even know what the
And a
barrel was.
$9,000 price tag.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was a machine gun. It was full auto too. So like,
Giggle switch.
it had the giggle switch on it too. So I'm
That
running
barrel
this
was
thing,
not
and I'm
hold
like,
to heat.
it actually the weight of the rifle did it a disservice being
Yep.
a full auto weapon.
For sure.
because It's riding up because there's no weight on the front end.
For sure.
So it's super weird. I mean, it was a cool gun. They had some really cool pistols, like some really cool pistols.
That was a gun built to be a toy.
Yeah. Well, and even then, like, there was nothing there. Hey, what's up, Sauce? Honesty is a required policy. Very happy to hear echoed here again. Shalom, brothers. Shalom.
Shalom, sauce.
Yeah.
Hello.
There was nothing there that was groundbreaking, and that's part of the false mystique of the gun tuber industry as well. And I joke with you guys all the time, but I'm not really joking. I don't care which striker-fired polymer-framed 9mm pistol you buy. I don't care. They're all kind of the same, and most of them are based off of the tilting barrel locking mechanism that John Moses Browning came up with in 1907. Okay, so 115 years ago. Again, what do you think of the new M5 weapon? It's an AR-10 in a boutique caliber with a short barrel. 70-year-old technology. So there was nothing groundbreaking there. I mean, about the coolest thing that I saw was an MP5 clone with a folding stock. Guess what? The MP5s already had folding stocks. It was just a slightly lighter, slightly cooler folding stock.
Yeah, one of them was the length of my forearm when it was folded.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, the MP5,
been around,
the
yeah.
PDW, MP5 PDW is this big.
It's been around.
The whole thing, it's the size, it's smaller than a loaf of bread.
There's a video of you and Bob shooting that together.
Yeah, those were the Century Arms
or
85.
in tandem.
Until we have
They were fun.
Star Wars styled blaster bolt
Choo,
guns,
choo, choo, choo.
right, or rail guns that I
You'll
can
miss
hold in my
every
hand.
shot.
We're not really advancing. We're kind of stuck where we're at. We're improving old technology.
That's all it is.
That's it. So again, until I have a like Star Wars style blaster bolt laser gun or rail gun, whatever.
Well, and so that's the thing, like, where you're seeing improvements being made, air quote improvements, it's in materials technology, carbon fiber handguards, ultra lightweight aluminum this, whatever.
Optics is pretty advanced now.
Optics, well, that's a good point.
Glasses
But
get
it's in accessories. It's not in the firearms mechanisms themselves. Double stack, double feed magazines, check. Multi-lug rotating bolt lockup, check. What folding stocks, check. Like what more do you want? There was some sight manufacturer there like, we have the best sights ever. I'm like, you know, the ones that came stock on my Glock work pretty damn good. Maybe you want to upgrade them, maybe you don't, but you know, what, the Heine straight 8s aren't good sights anymore?
I think it was
Yeah,
Steiner
like-
that had that thermal. That was pretty unique. The Steiner, I think it was Steiner
Yep.
that had the thermal on an AR, and they handed it to me, and you can adjust it slightly. It made the steel plate glow.
Yeah.
That was somewhat unique to me. Now that's probably somewhat from ignorance. I don't shoot thermal a lot, but that was pretty cool because in like broad daylight, it absolutely made that plate glow. I don't fully understand
The
it.
steel was hot.
It
Yeah.
was. I thought about that. I was like, the steel was hot, but it did a really good job of showing me that, and so
What-
that was pretty cool.
But
and
Do you see the Army's new night vision?
Yeah.
It'll illuminate the silhouette
Yeah.
of anything
I
that's
think
not
we
natural.
literally looked
Yeah.
through some of the
We
Mexico.
we did.
Yeah.
We hung out with some guys that don't have names doing
No, you
things.
didn't. You weren't there.
What?
Nothing
That
happened.
never happened.
Shut it down.
It was not
You
my
heard too
night.
much.
That was a sketchy night, bro. I never felt so much like a criminal in my life as I did that night. It was like, it's a sketch.
That was a bad time to make a mistake. You know, luckily we didn't. But
That was a good time.
anyway, so Steiner, right? They make awesome optics.
Thanks to them.
We could have bought the school bus that we were riding around on for less money than that clip-on thermal.
We almost
Oh,
bought
yeah,
a school bus.
That's true. We almost bought the school bus from the range because the guy, I was like, how much for this bus? Because it was a cool bus. It had like long gun holders lining the walls.
Spacious
Absolutely.
seats,
Yeah.
awesome air
It had
conditioner.
had air conditioning, you know.
It was
it's
totally
cool.
a prison bus.
'Cause it was like 97 degrees
Yeah.
today. And I was like, for real, like how much for this bus? And the guy goes, I don't know, 7,000. I was like, okay, stop by my truck, we'll get my checkbook. And he just started chuckling, and we all at the same time were like,
No,
I'm
we're
not
serious.
kidding.
We're not joking.
He's not kidding. Like,
we-
stop by the truck, we'll get the checkbook.
Like, we're
We've
gonna tell
been-
them you
yeah.
quoted this.
We've been talking about getting a bus for months.
Yeah.
Like, we're not
I
joking.
tried. I tried to get one from California. It didn't make it out. We left it in Arizona, and I flew back. Go check out that video on how I flew with my 45 from Arizona to Oklahoma. If I would have still lived in New Jersey and flew back, I would be in prison now.
No, we would have come gotcha. But it would have made the news, that's for sure. So, what are the questions we got? Have there been any good questions? Supposed to be doing Q&A.
Bear, what do you think about this polymer frame striker fired pistol?
I don't care.
There was a question about what cigar are you smoking?
Vodka's for sure.
Drew Estate Tobacco Especial Red
It's pretty
Eye.
much the best thing I've ever had in my life. I mean,
And when
it's-
I'm
Whoa, bro!
This
Twitch
guy.
and when I'm
phrasing.
done with this,
Dang.
I will be smoking a Maduro 10-year, or I'm sorry, a Perdomo 10-year anniversary. These are awesome. These are probably one of my new favorites.
Ghost asked a question.
Ghost.
What comes first, World War III on our shores or civil unrest due to the food shortage and grid failure?
Civil unrest comes
What
way
happens
before
first?
World War III.
It's already civil unrest.
When I was
Largest
still a
bar-
cop, we had some-
Largest bar on a steel 391, 25 inch. You can run a bar longer than that, but the 391, it's a 64 cc saw, makes 5.4 base horsepower. It's a great saw, but anything more than that, you're gonna buy your chain speed's gonna be too low to make it worth doing anything bigger than that.
Make sure you know how to run a saw before
Yeah,
you buy it.
that's a good point. Make sure you know how to run a freaking chainsaw. But
That is not a weak saw either. That's a bad one.
That'll
it's
jack
torquey.
you up.
The 391 is torquey. It's kind of like a diesel farm truck.
Yes.
Whereas like the 362 is more like a race car, the 391 is more like a diesel farm truck.
You say that about me.
And that 291 is just a beast every
Yeah.
day.
So, but the 391, I would not run anything bigger than a 25-inch bar on it. That's what I run on mine, and I run steel RS full chisel on mine.
I like the super chains from Steel, but they vibrate really hard.
So Husqvarna is nice. That's cute.
Eh.
Yeah.
Wrong channel, bro.
Yeah, too many tree companies.
I have a Steel weed whacker and leaf blower from the 90s that still work.
I have chainsaws from the 80s. that
Do
are still-
do you use actual night vision goggles or just mounted or a handheld? So handheld
3D
is no, they mount on a Rhino mount on your helmet, and you tilt them down when you need them. You flip them up when you don't. When you flip them up, they turn off, and when you flip them down, you turn the little knob and they turn on. That's yeah. And a helmet, even if it's a bump helmet, is way better than the plasticky head cage thing that they send with it to mount it. That thing sucks. Dudley's got something. What do you got?
Liberty Off-Road asked, off topic, but food storage, can you recommend a wheat mill? Drive around in the country, look for those tall metal things.
Maybe he's talking about way to grind.
Oh,
Hang on, my wife
So,
got that.
so there's two that we use. One is the Catalina, and then the other is the Country Living. The Country Living is dumb expensive, but it's excellent. The Catalina is more affordable, but if you want fine flour, you're gonna have to grind it 2, maybe 3 times.
sorry about that.
You're good. You got it. Sideways.
My wife cooks, my wife cooks with actual flour that we actually grind almost every day. And I'm trying to get the one that she uses. Those two are good. One of them might even be one she uses. But she's got a lot of reps on cooking with wheat. And the grinder saves a huge amount of time. Like, it matters. We got some hand crankers too.
I want to just to make this chat more interesting and for reasons. There are 622 of you. There's only 394 likes.
How dare
If
you?
like this live stream and share this live stream, and we hit 1,000 people watching and over 1,000 likes, I will jump in the pool.
What?
Whoa.
Yep.
Plot twist.
You're gonna keep
I
your
will
clothes
jump
on?
We gotta keep clothes on.
Okay.
Cannonball!
Straight up cannonball in that pool.
Right back there. You have a
1,000
thing.
people.
1,000 likes,
chat.
1,000 viewers.
No, you said 1,000 viewers.
You have
And
a thing
1,000
for
likes.
cannons. Recommendation on a homestead tractor. Don't get one that's too small.
Kaboom.
A lot of people go in like the 25 to 39 horsepower range. 25 is nothing. That's a riding lawnmower. Not recommended. 39 is just the very bare end. You're better served with something between 40 and 70 horsepower, and really the go-to for something like that is going to be a Kubota. But there's others. Coyote is one. Massey makes a couple decent small tractors. New Holland makes a couple decent small tractors. But the biggest thing I would recommend is get one that's large enough to do what you want it to do. So if you want to get a 5-foot tiller behind that thing, 25 ain't gonna even kind of do it. A 40's gonna struggle. A 55, 60 horse machine, good to go.
Kind of drives me
Hey,
nuts.
good
a
evening,
lot.
Andy Barnes.
A lot of tractors now have to have a computer tech
Yep.
to actually diagnose it and treat it, whatever the problem is.
Class action lawsuit against John Deere over that right now.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous that to fix or adjust or diagnose your very expensive homestead machine, you've got to go get a computer and a
Yes.
guy that knows how to run that computer. That makes no sense.
So get an old bulldozer, an old excavator, an old
Yes.
So somebody said, Bear, what's your favorite bass fishing rig? And my answer is my wife. She does the fishing, I do the hunting. She's a way better fisher person than I am. By a lot. Yeah, Brother Jody's an excellent fisherman.
Hey, Twitch, for that, the same thing in semi trucks. They started putting all of these sensors and crazy stuff on trucks, which destroyed it. So a new market emerged called glider kits. It's a brand new truck with the engine from the 70s. You don't have to worry about emissions or anything with that.
Analog.
Grandfathered in.
Yep.
My dad had an old Sears bought Roebuck & Co. tractor from the 60s, and that thing fired right up, and it's been sitting there for like 3 years. And you can fix that thing if you smack it with a wrench, wrap it with or put some bubble gum on a hole and wrap it with duct tape, and it'll work. That thing could survive a nuclear bomb.
Like an old
What was
game.
the old Ford L8000s, I think they were? Just little Ford blue tractors. Those things were like, you couldn't break them.
The ultimate bug out vehicle. Old Willie's
TSA EDC
They will run
recommendations.
forever.
A set of keys and whatever you want to drive with. I don't fly unless I absolutely have to. Ford 8N, thank you, Andy. That's exactly right. And I believe there was a Ford 9N as well.
Our pocket you can fly with,
Yep.
except for the big company.
Yep, the Pocket. You can fly with that. I don't know. I'm not your guy on that. I'd just be talking out of my ass. I don't do a lot of flying.
You fly with medical shears too.
We definitely have to
Yeah.
get soil tillage handled. I live on the farm. Hey, what's up, Cornfed? 49,000 track. What's up, Chris Haynes? 34-foot Ford Jubilees don't die easy. What's up, Badger? Bear, what is the name of the ministry you work with in Florida during one of the hurricanes? Night Runners. Night Runners. Yep, good people. The Reverend Gilbert Abreu and his wife Evelyn. Very good people. Night Runners, mobile crisis response. You should look them up and donate some money to them. If you're like, I need a place to send my tithe, check out Night Runners. Also, happy to announce, as many of y'all have been paying attention, we've already begun breaking ground on Caleb House, and we will be back up there at the beginning of this coming month to continue work. Myself and Dudley, we've got heavy equipment coming. We've got to generate soil to build pads for the buildings. We just retained another architect. The architect that we had was doing an excellent job for us voluntarily. They were donating their time, but there's a window of opportunity for a grant that we want to apply for that we had to get the drawings done ASAP, and so those are going in, and then that grant will be submitted on September 1st, and so that gives us time in between now and then to do dirt work and road work and the whole nine to get set up for construction. So like the ball is rolling on Caleb House, and I very specifically wanted to thank every one of you that has poured into Caleb House. We literally couldn't do it without you, man. And I have days where I'm like, it's too big, it's too much. I don't know how we're gonna do this. And Ya's like, no shit, that's why I'm involved. You need to stop trying to do all of it.
That's super good.
Just work with me. And that's the thing, like, you know, it's work with him. It's not work for him. You know, and I get that messed up sometimes. But just a quick update for that with all y'all, just to let you know that we are 100% applying the absolute highest level of stewardship to your donations with Caleb House, and that ball is moving forward. So I love y'all. Like, thank you, serious thank you. More Home Depot cards for Caleb House needed. Nels Mohawk, if you have them, we would take them for sure. We're going to have significant construction costs associated with building Caleb House.
Especially with inflation.
Yeah, and mind you, when we started this
Resources,
concept,
scarcity.
2x4s were $1.67. They're like $7 now. So, but we actually had an awesome gentleman who donated a truckload of lumber to the relief effort in Kentucky, and we're like, hey, we can't use all this lumber here. Is it okay if we use it for Caleb House? And he was like, yes, absolutely. And so we got 7 units of lumber for Caleb House. So that's super cool. And you know, again, like, it's a lot like Jeremiah. The father says, hey, give me my sheep, give me my goats, give me my offerings. It's all mine. And you could read elsewhere in the Psalms, the earth belongs to Yah and all that fills it. Like, it's all his. Like, Caleb House is his. Every brick and every nail and every 2x4 and every roof panel and every electrical box and every staple and every bucket of drywall mud, it all belongs to him. It's out there, and I believe that. And when we're supposed to have it, we'll get it. And so that's super cool. I just have to remind myself of that sometimes, because it is a monumental undertaking, and I've frankly done a bad job at times in judgment in other ministries that have attempted to do the same thing, thinking that, man, well, they should have been farther along than they are right now. Dude, it's a whole process. And once you get the federal government involved, it's a process. And they have to be involved, because if they are not involved, we are now engaging in kidnapping.
Yep.
If we don't have DHS's blessing in order for us to do what we're doing, we're now kidnapping. And it's a big deal. I'm losing my faith. Bear walking willingly in the dark. Well, Adam Anderson stopped that. The first thing you do is you quit flirting with the enemy. That's it. You know that there's stuff that you're doing that you shouldn't be doing. Stop it immediately. Just stop. And if your willpower is non-existent, if your discipline is non-existent, you need to simplify ASAP. Like just stop whoring in Babylon, stop sinning, just stop. And then you have to lean not on your own understanding and lean on the strength of the Creator. And stop willingly walking in darkness, because that's the kind of stuff that gets you smoked by the Most High. You are literally testing His patience, and He is long-suffering and loving, but He will not allow you to walk in unrighteousness for an extended period of time. The very fact that you made that comment means that you're feeling convicted and you need to fix yourself. And so you need to get on your knees, you need to cry out to the Father and ask Him to pour Himself into you and to show you the ways which to walk. You probably need to turn your life back over to Messiah again. You need to confess your sins to the Father or to a trusted brother, preferably both. And then you need to start walking the way you're supposed to be walking, like ASAP, like right now. Stop watching this live stream, put your phone down, turn it off, put your knees on the ground, put your face on the ground, and seek the Father's face. There's nothing more important than that. If you are not in line with His will, and if you are not walking in His ways, and if you are not covered by the blood of His Son, there's literally nothing else that matters. And yeah, Jody, good comment. Praise the Father in every season. That's right. We have a little saying, this sucks, praise Yah. The earth belongs to Yah and all it fills it. It's all His. All the good, all the bad, all the things that don't make any sense. Uvalde, Texas, and that tragedy is His. Okay, like it's all His. And yes, the enemy is an absolute angel, and the enemy does things that don't make sense, and it makes us question our faith, and can put us in a spiritual tailspin at times. But you lean on the Father. This sucks, praise Yah.
I was just having a conversation with obviously we taught him in Waco recently, Bob, and we were chatting a little bit in text message, and he was pointing out that he went real hard from the Father for a long time, and we can all relate to that. And he was saying, not that the Father owes it to me to show up in like a vision or a tangible proof. He's like, He doesn't have to prove anything to me. He's like, but it's really cool that He does, and I followed that up. I said, it's really cool that He does, I agree. It's also really cool now that I look for it more in stuff that isn't like this flash of light, glowing thing, right? I look for it in everything, and not everything is of the enemy, and not everything is of the Father, but at the same time, a whole lot of stuff is from the Lord, and I miss a lot of it because I'm in my own head, I'm in my own focus or whatever. And so when we kind of open up our eyes and we look for the good, and as preppers, that's tough sometimes. When you look for the good, it's there, man. It is there. You're not that bad. I'm not saying there won't be bad things. I'm saying there's a lot of good too, even with our country right now. So I think all of us probably agree, probably everybody on this thing agree, that there's a lot of stuff that's pretty messed up. Every day we get more feedback on what's messed up, but not everything is messed up.
It's a good point.
Let's try to focus on what is working, what is good, what I do have. I have food today, or I had something to drink today. And that could be the starting point. That's pretty low end on the priorities, right? But it's a big priority, and then everything else can flow.
Well, and we were talking, Twitch and I were talking earlier today. Sometimes you get in this death spiral.
Yeah.
And the best way for me to get out of the death spiral is to stop focusing on me and go help somebody else. Like, just, you go pray with a woman who 5 of 9 people on her property were killed in a storm, and the only thing that's left of her house are the cinder blocks that her house was sitting on top of. Your problems don't matter anymore, bro. All the things you were gonna bitch about today don't matter anymore. You go fix a single mom's house that was flooded and had a tree fall through the roof at the same time. She's alone with 3 kids and has no money. You don't have problems anymore. Your problems are very little. You go, feed somebody that hasn't had a warm meal in 5 months. Hasn't had a hot meal in 5 months. And you hand them a plate of food. and they break down crying in the middle of the street when you hand them food. And ask you, why are you doing this? And the answer is because your Creator loves you so much that He convicted me to come here and do this so that we could have this interaction. And that woman got her food, and she got to know that the Father loved her. But I got to feel the power of His Spirit and His conviction. That's what I needed. And it pulls me out of that death spot. And so if you are in a bad place, you might start asking yourself, A, what am I doing that I shouldn't be doing? What should I be doing that I'm not doing? And who am I supposed to be serving? Bob, I saw you were going to say something.
You know, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this sunset and I'm looking at these trees, and the word has never been more true. You will know Him by His creation. Everything around us is evidence of Him. And sometimes it's really hard because we get stuck in ourselves, stuck in our own loss and our own pain and our own stress and our own strife and all these things, and we forget to just look around and go, wow, He created all of this. And He created all of this and then looked around and said something was missing, and that something that was missing was us. And that's humbling. You are wanted, you are needed, you are loved by the Father. One of the hardest things is you have to kill yourself, like the flesh in you. You have to die to yourself so that He can use you, right? So you can be His tool. And part of that is looking at my strife and pain and worry and all that stuff, and still going to help that woman who lost those people. Still going to help that single mom. Still feeding those hungry people. You know, when Messiah was here, he didn't have a pot to piss in, no roof over his head, no tangible items, and He healed the sick, and He fed the hungry, and He provided for the poor, and He gave the blind sight. What a lesson for us. We have so much. We have so much in abundance we have. And just like the scriptures say, overtake it by our blessings, right? In Deuteronomy. That doesn't mean that we can't take what He has created and what He has given to us to steward for granted. It's just like His creation is evident, like His power, His sovereignty is evident. Sometimes we just don't look. You might have to look.
That when we were talking about the storm, if you look at it like a tornado in the middle, there's peace and calm inside the storm. And in everybody's lives, there's a time where everything seems good, then that storm gets over you, you're in all of that turmoil, you don't know which way to turn, everything is flying everywhere. Then when you finally come to the Father, you're like, oh, look, it's peaceful. But no, that storm is still around you. That enemy is still trying to get you. But you think that you've gotten over where you needed to be. But then that next wall of that storm, as it's passing through, hits you again. And that's where your true test comes in.
Yep.
And you won't know. You'll think that when it was peaceful, that was you already went through your trials and everything was at peace, and now you're good. But then something else hits you. But that's the enemy trying to pull you back in, give you that false sense of security, being in that peace in the storm, focusing on the enemy instead of waiting that storm out, trusting in the Father to protect you on that other side.
So, good point. Another thing too, we have to be very careful with is words have power.
Yeah.
The Father spoke life into existence. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. How much more so your daily life? What are you saying to yourself with your mouth, with your mind? What are you saying to other people? And what are you allowing other people to say to you? to fill your head and to fill your mind and to fill your heart with trash. And then you look around and everything's trash. I wonder why. Because you live in a dump, bro. Like, you gotta police your shit. You gotta clean up after yourself. You gotta clean up about everybody else. And once you get it cleaned up, you can't allow other people to come into your life and just drop trash in there, just throw trash around until you get mad because you're tripping over all the trash. You can't maneuver because there's so much trash everywhere. It's depressing because it's work. It's hard work to take the trash out and clean yourself up. But like Bob was saying, you have to die to yourself daily. And it's a process, man. I told you, whatever you're doing that you're not supposed to be doing, stop right now. And hopefully you do. Tomorrow, you might start it here. It's a lifelong, decadal process to refine the soul to be a better and better and better vessel for the Father. It doesn't happen overnight, but the first step in that journey of a lifetime can literally start right now. But you gotta walk, you gotta do it, you gotta keep going. And a big part of that too is having brothers around you that know the Father, that know His Word, because your brother may have seen a different part of the path than you have. And so when you end up on that path, that part of the path, and you're freaking out, man, because it's scary and I don't get it and it's uncomfortable, and man, that's a big leap. I don't know if I can leap across this void. And it's like, when your brother comes alongside and he's like, I've seen this part before. Yeah, it's scary, but this is how you navigate that. Come with me, I'm gonna show you how to jump across this.
So, James, you commented, you said that you were a dark person. And you asked, how does someone show light to God's children while being a dark person? First of all, in regards to the dark person thing, congrats, man. Here's your medal that we all have. Because,
Participation trophy.
Yeah, like,
And it's not just skin color.
yeah, it's not a race and you can, like, we're all made in flesh. Congrats. What an amazing thing it is that you can admit it. Truly, like, that's a blessing that you can see that that's a problem. Okay? So I was reading John this morning. I couldn't figure out why I was reading John. I don't know why I went to John, but I went to John this morning. Now it makes complete sense because Yah is awesome, right?
We have to speak up a little bit.
So with that, I'm going to just read a little bit of the word right now in this second because I'm feeling convicted to. So John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim. He was in the beginning with Elohim. All came to be through Him, and without Him not even one came to be that came to be. In Him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. It didn't say that the light deleted the darkness. It didn't say that the light removed the darkness from existence. It said that the light shined in the darkness and overcame it. It's a process. You have to let your light shine. Not all dark, because you're created in the image of Yah. So it's impossible for you to be all dark. Use the light that He's given you to shine and move forward.
I am vengeance.
Any other questions?
Very independent. My pastor says his favorite book is Romans. What's yours? It's a tough question. James is an excellent book. James is a beautiful book for the tactical daily application of how to walk in the Father's ways. So James is highly recommended. I would say the flip side of that, Old Testament, like, all right, got to do the things. What things should I do? Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy means the second telling, Devarim. And it's a recap of the first 4 books and how to walk in ways that are pleasing to the Most High. My favorite gospel is the Gospel of John. I like the way John writes, just as our brother Bob was just reading. Right? We were talking about this earlier today.
Yep.
Love the Gospel of John, Yochanan. And, as far as epistles, I don't know, 2 Thessalonians goes a long way in summing up a lot of Paul's arguments, and it's Pauline in nature. Paul wrote it. So it's tough to pick just a book. I try and read my Bible every day, and I do the Proverbs of the day. So today's the 27th, read Proverbs 27 this morning, and then I was in 2 Chronicles after that. And after I finish 2 Chronicles, I'll be in Matthew, then Mark, then Luke, then John, then Acts, and then Romans, and I just keep reading it every day. Just keep reading it. But then a lot of the times on Shabbat, I read the Torah portion, which usually will be something from the Pentateuch or the Tanakh, the first 5 books of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Right now, finishing Leviticus, and then there's a Haftorah portion, which is the prophets, major and minor prophets, and then there's a gospel portion, something in the New Testament, usually one of the 4 gospels. So I'll read those on Shabbat, and then wherever the Spirit takes me. And then I also read the Bible with y'all each week, and so we're in Revelation and Isaiah. And so I'll read Revelation and Isaiah, and then this past Shabbat I found myself reading in Matthew chapter 5, which is the Sermon on the Mount, which is actually Messiah, Yeshua, teaching the Mishpatim Torah portion. Imagine that. And see, that's the thing. If you know the Old Testament, then the New Testament really starts to make sense. And so I love the book. I love the Word of Yah. I can't, there's a reason they're all in the same binding. So to say that, to pick just one, it's like, if the Father wanted us to have just one, we'd have just one. And to that point, I would recommend reading, as far as if you're reading non-canonical texts, help me, Dr. Lee, bless you, thank you. If you're reading non-canonical texts, meaning books that were in the Bible at some point and now no longer are, and that's an entirely different rabbit hole that we don't need to jump into right now. Most people will read Jasher, Jubilees, Enoch, and all of those are great. I would also recommend the Didache, D-I-D-A-C-H-E, and it is the earliest book of doctrinal worship that is known to exist in the early church, dated somewhere around 90 AD, very likely written by James the Just, aka the brother of Yeshua himself. And it is, it's much like the book of James in that it's very tactical, practical, do this, don't do that, but it's an excellent insight into how the earliest believers in Messiah were conducting themselves before the church got involved with doctrines and dogmas and opinions of men, and the Pope and the Council of Nicaea and Luther and Calvin and blah 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 blah. So, what else we got, Bear Nation?
You ever notice that we always get on the conversation of Yahweh?
Always.
Total coincidence.
Well, it's a part of who we are, and I'm unashamed about it. I can't separate it out. It's just a part of who I am.
Yeah.
I got 3 years ago, I talked to a consultant about growing my YouTube channel, and his immediate recommendation was, you got to get rid of the Bible videos, put them on a different channel, whatever, but the numbers from the Bible videos are algorithmically hurting the numbers on all your other videos. You got to get rid of them. I was like, I can't. Because you can't start another channel. And I said, if I start another channel, I put them over there, then the people here won't go watch those. Yeah. And I don't want to do that. And we have brethren that do that, and I don't begrudge them that. That's fine. But for me, I can't. I cannot separate out my relationship with the Father and then everything else, because it's my relationship with the Father first and then everything else. And so you guys are going to ask me prepping questions and firearms questions and business questions and all of that. And all of those answers are going to be informed by, they're going to be colored by my relationship with the Creator. like 100%. And if they're not, if I ever make decisions about any of those things that aren't informed by my relationship with the Creator, my brothers will kick my ass, as they should, because that's how it's supposed to be. And that's a huge part, that accountability aspect of having people around you who are like-minded and have the same faith as you. We get that question all the time as far as forming a MAG, a mutual assistance group. How important is faith? Well, if you're a person of faith, it should be the most important thing.
Shapes everything up.
It should be the most important thing. And the higher the ideological alignment is for the people that you have within your group, the more stuff you're going to be able to do together.
Ooh, that's super.
And if you have low ideological alignment, you're going to start bickering over things that don't matter. You're not going to be able to get stuff done. And praise God, we get a lot of stuff done.
Yes.
Closer the relationship will be too, because how, if you're prepping for the years of your bad times when it comes your way, that's really what you need to be prepping for. And if you're not willing to do that with people that don't have similar ideologies that you do, theology that you do, violate the man's purpose,
Yep.
then that will be the hardest time of your life.
Yep.
We tell people that when we go on mission, whether the guys today at Primary Arms realize it or not, they're part of a mission. Because that's how my mind works. Every day is a mission. The question is how far do we have to go to do it? Right? Some missions go overseas, some go next door, some go to Kentucky, some go to Primary Arms. But the idea remains the same, that it has to shape why I do everything else. And in theory and in practice, I don't just theorize it. It makes us better at doing things. For example, I like rendering aid. I no longer do that. Now I get to teach like a 9-year-old girl to do that. The only reason I care about rendering aid is because the Spirit told me to. Honestly, like if I just looked at me as a person, I just don't care. Like again, brutal honesty, I don't really care enough about people.
Yep.
But the Spirit changed me in that aspect of me and put a different series of convictions in my heart. And so that's almost the thing I care about the most. And so now it informs everything else I do. It informs why I care about the trauma kits or tourniquets or why we go and do some of this stuff. Why it bothers us when an unfortunate almost 20 children die because of the lack of interest in it, because it's a conviction. It's like who else can we teach that stuff to so it stops happening?
Yep.
Because the Spirit told me.
Going back to the mag, I think our mag is different from a lot of other mags in that it's not just a bunch of dudes going out to shoot.
Yep.
It's a bunch of families. And the only reason that it is a bunch of families and not just a bunch of dudes shooting, it goes back to that theology. Because if our houses were not in the then you couldn't put a mag in.
Uh-huh.
There wouldn't be a reason to.
That's a very good point. Yeah, that's positions of strength. It begins in your home first. Because if my house, use my house, if my house is out of line and I come try and do stuff with you, the disorder that's in my house is going to infect and affect everything that we all do together. And that's something that most people just want to put a Band-Aid on, just want to gloss over the fact, oh yeah, I know my kid's rebellious, but it'll be okay. Well, what happens if your kid's rebellious when it actually matters? If I say, hey, do this thing, and they say no, or I say, don't do this thing, and they do it, we're going to have issues, right? So, other questions? I came here for info and how-to. I stay here because of the men's group Monday, and I can listen to real people thriving with Elohim. Truth is inconvenient to the masses. Thank you, Broke One. What do you got, Dud?
This is going to Adam Anderson. He was a Mormon. He fell out of communication with the Father because of the people that's around him. When I was a non-believer, my grandmother would say to me all the time, the way you live your life is better than any Christian that I've known. You are the best Christian that I know that doesn't believe. You treat everyone how a believer should, but you profess against it. Why is that? Why can't I find any Christians that wear that hat, that claim that are actually moving like you? It makes absolutely no sense. So then, after the time of me coming back to the faith, I didn't change much. All it was me diving into the Bible and understanding it better for myself, better than what I did as a child, trying to grasp onto what didn't make sense from a failure of education of those that are teaching from the New Testament, shunning the Old Testament, and then that makes contradictions through it all. If you don't start at the beginning and work your entire way through, none of this will make any sense. It helps out to know that there are whores tempting you throughout the Bible. There are people that are plotting against you that say that they're your friend, and they will mess you over, and that's all in the Bible. You don't have to hear harps and all types of music to get a better understanding about it. Just read the word, apply it to your life. Like, how do you not get sick? How do you eat healthy? How do you do business? How do you live your life? It's all there in the Torah. Read that, get a better understanding, and then you'll be more at peace.
How do you make sure that Yah doesn't open up the earth under your feet and
Yes.
make you disappear?
You gotta do stuff.
So yeah, you do have to do stuff. And to the label of Mormon or Christian or anything like that, I despise labels. The biblically prophesied movement that I am a very small part of, people call Torah observant or Messianic Judaism or whole Bible believers or the way, or I don't care. I don't care about any of that, because the moment you put a label on something, it's an effort for somebody to try and put you in a box to quantify you. I am a son of Elohim. I'm covered by the blood of Messiah, and I do my best, my damnedest, to walk in his steps. That's it. I don't know what that makes me per the world's labels, nor do I care about the world's labels. What I care is, at the end of my life, hearing the words, "Well done, good and faithful servant." That's what I care about. You did what I told you to do, son. Good job. That's what I care about. Get a lab mic. How about you get good? So be careful with the labels, because I got news for you. Christian was a derogatory term that the Greeks came up with. It derives from the word Christios, which means those people that followed Messiah. A remnant is not 2 billion people. And dare I say, there are not 2 billion people following Messiah right now. They are following the doctrines and dogmas that they've been taught.
I think there's an active effort to narrow down who is following Messiah.
I agree with that. What do you got?
Got a question from Mama Bear. Are we failing as fellow Christians because we allowed these horrible things to happen?
Depends. Are we failing as fellow Christians by allowing these terrible things to happen? Depends. I'll give you a personal story. The school district that my kids go to, it's a good school district. The only reason they're not actively homeschooled right now is because it's a good school district. No, critical race theory, none of that, Common Core, none of that crap. It's a good school district. And I know that at least 3 of the teachers in the high school in that school district watch this show. And so I say this with love and appreciation. I have been begging the administration to let us give you kits and give you training, so that if something like what happened in Uvalde, Texas happens, at least somebody there knows how to deal with it. Begging. I have been begging, and I've been met with blasé in some cases and staunch resistance in others. At what point do I have to make the choice to remove my kids from this situation because you won't take the fact that they are fearfully and wonderfully created in the image of our Father and they belong to me deadly seriously? That's a question I have to ask myself. If you are not putting yourself in a position every day to where your light can shine, if you're not calling bullshit on the bullshit, if you're not holding people accountable, if you're not making your best effort every day to do the things that the Spirit told you to do, to walk in Yeshua's steps, to be that light, then yeah, the flip side of that is, as a Christian, you are either voluntarily or involuntarily whoring with Babylon and therefore contributing to the problem in the first place. And the time for fence sitting has been long over. If you are not actively trying to separate yourself from this beast system, you're contributing to it. You are feeding it with the fruits of your labors, with your efforts, with your lack of care. You're feeding it. And so does that make you complicit in these murders? I don't think it rises to the level of complicity. I don't think you're complicit, but you're certainly not actively working against it either.
So, as far as, so again, from a former cop perspective, and a dad sitting here with the mother of my children, we homeschool our children. And I have a sister who I love, like my literal sister, my biological sister. She would tell you that if I asked her, hey, why don't you homeschool your daughter? She would tell you we couldn't afford to do that. She makes more than $100,000 a year. At what point do you realize that there might have to be sacrifices for some of that? So what we're getting to is you'll have to decide based on your environment. So if you're in Illinois, you may have to decide for the sake of your family what you perceive, whether that's a spiritual perception or whether it is an analysis by world standards. Maybe you don't believe in Father. That is at a point you're going to have to decide, you know what, I'm not going to let my kids go to this place that I know there's no protection for them, and instead I'll have to cut things in my own life. We had that conversation. Before my son was born, you're going to have to prioritize, and some of that might be that priority is not money.
Well, the other thing is, what are you convicted about? Like, are you convicted about getting your kids out of school or not? And if you are, then follow that conviction. Act on it. If you're not, if you feel comfortable, and if that's where your family, you pray about it, and that's where your family is at, then send them to school. It is what it is. Like, not one system is perfect for every family. So you need to understand that too.
And what is my sphere of influence? You're talking right now, right, about your sphere. You've got some pull in those environments, but you're still being met with resistance. A lot of places, it's a flat out no, we won't even talk to these people, right? But people like us. If that's the environment you're dealing with, guys, the sphere of influence that I have tangible control of is my children, my home, and my wife. Mm-hmm. Right? That's what I can control. I can control my eating habits. I can't control yours, right? Same thing applies. So while I feel that the country's symptoms, like shootings or mass murder or riots, I feel like those symptoms are symptomatic of a bigger issue. We could even call it a spiritual malfunction, I would say. I can't control that. I can control is my involvement in it, our involvement in it. And that's a personal decision. So hopefully, the greater portion of the nation will wake up to that. And if enough people pulled their kids out of public school for the same reasons, like I can't contribute my child to this nonsense, there wouldn't be public schools functioning the way they are.
That's the truth.
Texas T. On my fingers, I can't touch the dang phone. Got my art today. It only took 2 days to get. Thank you and the team, and thank you, Brother T, for all you do. You made the biggest difference in my life. Praise Yah. Texas T, good brother. He was at men's retreat.
He was. Him and his grandson.
Yeah. Said grandson-in-law?
It was grandson.
Grandson.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Bless you, brother. Thank you. Yeah, I think there's a handful of arcs left in the store. may not be since the last time I checked.
There's some.
There's some bleeding control kits. They're probably going to sell out because Wrangler Star, bless that brother, talked about them earlier tonight. And so, you know, this
Unprompted too. Just
unprompted.
What a homie.
Yeah, what a homie. That's exactly right.
Yes, indeed.
So, and then Bare Facts are about a week and a half out.
Yeah.
The Father has showed some of us what's ahead. His hand has been removed. So, here's the thing. I don't think his hand has been on this society for a long time.
Right.
And when the Father talks about nations, the word nations in the Bible is not nation states. It's groups of people. And you really want to make sure you're in the Father's group of people and not in everybody else. Because everybody else, read the end of the book, everybody else gets their asses whooped. And it's a bad deal. Yeah. So are we contributing to this systemic problem in the United States to the extent that we're not standing up and taking action where we can take action, like Twitch said? Yes, we are. We all need to be better at that. What else we got? Don't want to be bird food, that's right. It's hard to ask God to bless a godless nation. I believe.
Dude.
I believe that's accurate.
You mean just because it's on the money doesn't actually mean it?
Oh no.
So yeah, Yah makes really straightforward what his money is. It's the shekel of the temple. Find me some of those.
Right.
It doesn't have an all-seeing eye on it.
It's not paper.
No.
Silver and gold.
Silver and gold. Silver and gold. Is that Yukon Cornelius?
I don't know, man.
What's that movie?
I'm afraid that we're going to get into a movie about winter pagan heathenisms. I don't want to jump down that hole.
The green screen isn't as nice tonight. Well, we're in Houston, so can't.
Harder though.
We're
Can't
still
affect-
streaming. How about that?
Yeah, we're here. We're making the effort for y'all. Okay, get a little love. Come
Be
on.
grateful.
Black screen.
Make disciples of all nations. Yep.
Yes, Sheep Panda.
Sheep panda.
There you go.
It looks kind of good.
Light a fire with it.
I don't know. I haven't tried.
See now.
Oh.
How do you leave the cities?
How do you leave the How do you leave the cities and still spread the gospel in these cities? Howitzer's got a comment.
Set up for this one.
Okay.
So I grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania, basically flaming dumpster heap of the Poconos in New York and New Jersey. That's essentially what it was. The way you get out of the city is that you just make the freaking decision to do it, and you learned this from your old man, and this is great advice. One word. Start. COVID hit. I jumped in my Jeep with nothing other than what I could fit in it.
Yep.
And left. And that was a huge leap of faith for me, because I'm like, well, yeah, this might be the end of the world. I don't know. But I know that there's some brothers in Oklahoma that I met this one time and then this other time. And they said, yeah, things are getting really weird. You're going to come down here and do the things. Come on down. And I was like, hey, guess what? The world's getting weird. I'm coming down to do the things. And now it's like overwhelmingly blessed. Overcome with provisions and blessings. You know, like, just, you want to get out of the city, the only person stopping you is you.
Amen.
Bob,
So-
you've never been to a city, have you?
And so here's the thing. If we leave the cities, how do we spread the gospel in the cities? I'm in a city right now. I don't live in the city.
The internet.
Jonah didn't live in Nineveh. Yeshua didn't live in Jerusalem. Right? Like, John the Baptist, Yochanan, was baptizing in the Jordan River. He was in the scene. He lived out in the sticks, bro. But, you know, all these people, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Habakkuk, Nehemiah, all these people, all of them, the men of Elohim, They lived out, bro. And then the father would say, hey, I need you to go talk to my people. And when they did, what did they do? They showed up and started screaming at them. If you don't do what the father told you to do, gee, what's that? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. If you don't do the stuff that I told you to do, he is going to beat your ass.
And we have internet now. So we get streamed live into the cities, telling people, and no, not telling people, showing people, leading by example. That was always my key point for my sons, to show them. I'm not going to tell you, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. You as an adult need to lead by example. If don't complain about things that are going on out in the world and you still living in Babylon, especially if you're listening to us, you have the opportunity to know, so you have no excuse. Make a plan, get out, save your family before it's too late.
Humbly, one of the greatest opportunities, in my opinion, and I say that humbly, that the Father has put men that I'm sitting around this table with, and the strong wives that these men have, that I have the honor and privilege of knowing, right, and to call my sister, like, and y'all have the opportunity to listen and to grab the word, because you have the ability right now to get the word, to hold in your hand yourself, and to look upon the word with your own eyes, and to read it for yourself, and to ask questions, and to seek wise counsels from your brothers and your sisters in Yeshua, and to learn these things. You have no excuse, and you have all the information that you wish to seek at your fingertips right now. Like, the thing that is recording this, that allows me to talk to some of y'all on the other side of the world in real time. You don't have an excuse anymore today.
Nope.
You never had an excuse 1,000 years ago, or 2,000 years ago, or 5,500 years ago. You don't have an excuse. And here's the thing. When my day of judgment comes, when the day of judgment comes, when all of our days of judgment comes, Yah's not going to care about my excuse. He's not going to care. Yep. He's going to be like, why didn't you do this thing? Or he's going to show me that, I don't know how it's going to work, or he's going to show me this moment where he blatantly, looking back with hindsight, told me to do something, and was I obedient or was I defiant? And I'm going to have to answer for it.
Something else I find. Most of the places that I seem to get sent is city.
Yep.
So, I mean, because that is where the people are, and that's part of what my job is, and that's where the population groups that want to learn this stuff is. But there will be a time, I don't think it's so far out, where we won't be going to cities anymore.
Nope.
And just like Nineveh, not every city, guys, makes a decision to turn back.
Yep.
Right? Some do. Some make that call.
Sodom and Gomorrah didn't.
Yeah, Sodom and Gomorrah didn't. Nineveh does. So we've got two opposing views there. They still all got warned. At a certain point, you're going to cut those losses.
Well, look at Moses. Moses left, came back.
And left again.
You think he's to leave again, and he left with the 10th. I mean, not even everybody.
Yep, the 10th. That's exactly right. It's another thing that people miss, you know, the Exodus. We talk about 603,550 military-aged males, estimated to be 3 to 5 million in the mixed multitude that left Mitzrayim, and left Egypt. Historic, not biblically, historic. Historians and archaeologists estimate that to be approximately 1/10 of the number of Hebrews who were there. 1 in 10 actually left. That's a remnant. That's a remnant. And also to what Yankee was saying, we don't suffer from a lack of information. We suffer from a lack of execution. And you all get on here because in many cases you want the fellowship, but in many cases you want the motivation to do the thing that you already know you're supposed to do. Do it. Just do it. Like, start, like Yankee said. And I do think that there will come a time I know there will come a time. I don't think it's that far off. Weeks, months, years, probably years, maybe months, probably years, a handful of years, before we can't travel anymore. And newsflash, you won't be able to either. You'll be stuck inside that hellhole of a city that you live in right now, wondering, where am I going to find my brothers? Where am I going to find my sisters? You had a chance. You just didn't take it because it wasn't easy. It wasn't convenient. It wasn't your plan. So, let's see here. Grandson-in-law, but he might as well be my grandson. He's my best friend. That's awesome. I thought it was his grandson.
He's a good kid.
I got to spin this around one more time. I got the cable all twisted up.
Uh-oh.
So,
Don't get dizzy.
I told you I felt convicted that what we're teaching is the remedy.
yes, I agree with that. I'll say that again if you didn't hear him. Twitch has felt convicted that what we're teaching is the remedy. And I agree with that. We meet some really high quality people training. And there's no coincidences there either.
I know we were talking before a couple months ago. It was like you have the Old Testament, the New Testament, and three. Having three of something, and the biblical significance of that. It's like, what is the next part gonna say? What are gonna be the names attached to the chapters with the new verses?
Yep.
And what is that gonna look like? If
The
that's the thing. If that
The
be
Living
His will.
Testament or the Modern
Yeah.
Testament or something.
It's
Yeah.
It's like
The Third Testament.
The Third
I think it's coming.
or the last.
Well,
I don't
it's
know.
that's prophesied.
Yeah.
It's prophesied that there will come a time when we will no longer talk about the Exodus because of the second Exodus. Whoa. You know where that is? It's in the Bible. So tell me you're a Bible-believing Christian and it ain't in it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, it doesn't say that. Yeah, it says that.
And here's the thing, man. Like, weird thing. We don't know what the second Exodus is going to look like. We know it's going to not be fun.
Well, that's the
But
thing.
what if it's already started?
That's an interesting question. What if it's already started?
Feels like it started to me.
We have things like cars now that allow us to travel great distances
Yeah.
very quickly. They didn't have that 6,000 years ago. You know, like, who knows? I don't know.
Be the light.
So,
Wherever we go,
be the
we
light.
shine bright.
That's a shirt. Be the
So-
light.
Minnie Mill said, is it possible that psyops are being used to infect the modern prepper movement or something before he retracted his message? So first of all, never start a question with, is it possible? Because the answer is always yes. Is it possible a pterodactyl flies over the top of me right now and drops a boulder on my head? Yes. Is it probable? No. Is it likely? Not even close. So is it possible? Anything? Yes, anything is possible. Is it probable? See, that's the thing. You need to assign levels of probability to whatever your potential courses of action. Is it probable that that's happening? To a certain extent, yes. But so much of that is because so many preppers are operating out of fear, and they're allowing the narrative to wag the dog on that. We don't do what we do out of fear. I ain't afraid of shit. I fear Yahuwah my Elohim, and the biblical definition of fear is deep respect. Okay, so I fear my Creator. As far as what's happening in the world, do I have concerns? Yep, sure do. I have concerns. Is anything going to keep me up tonight? Maybe heartburn. Had a lot of chicken tenders for dinner.
Dude, I feel you there.
Other than that, probably not. Probably not. I'm deeply concerned, on the one hand, for the direction the world is headed, while on the other hand, knowing 100% that I am not of the world, and neither are you supposed to. And so, if we get back to the concept of this sucks, praise Yah. See, that's the thing. So many modern Christians are like, well, my God would never do that to me. It's like, well, your God's make-believe. Read the effing Bible.
Your God's not
Because
real.
bad stuff happens to the Father's people all the time. He doesn't prevent it from happening. He stewards them through it. And that's what you have to onboard. And, you know, there's a lot of people that claim to be people of faith who are taking their prepping advice from avowed atheists. Well, that sounds like a good idea. Well, it doesn't mean they don't have good information.
Why do you care about dying if you're an atheist?
That's a good question. Well, and again, you know, it's simple things, but they're profound. It hit me like a ton of bricks the other day when I was shoveling compost. Why do people turn back into dirt when they die? Because that's what y'all made Adam out of. That's what we were made out of. We all go back to the earth, Gaia, Mother Earth. No, y'all scooped up a handful of dirt and he breathed life into it, and that's how Adam was made.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
That's right. And if you want to get into that on a scientific level, yeah, we're made up of carbon and hydrogen, oxygen. Like, we're molecularly, we're not special. We're dirt, bro.
Dan Royce has a good question.
What is it?
Hey Bear, do you think instead of one person being the Antichrist, it's several world leaders?
No,
Pretty simple, right? Read your
the
Bible, bro.
Antichrist. The
Now there's a
Antichrist.
spirit of the lawless one.
Yep, there's a spirit of the lawless one. There is a great deception that I would submit many are already under currently. But the lawless one, is one, the lawless one, is the Antichrist. And by the way, the Apostle Paul said that in the New Testament. That wasn't something that Moses came up with up on the side of a mountain, okay? Paul said that in the New Testament. Stout Red Leg Bear, I want to thank you for a live stream a few months back talking about asking for help. I have my head straight and I am back following the Father. Stout Red Leg, bless you, bro. Praise the Father, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Bear, if we are not of the world, why is there so much fixation on firearms instead of farming? Because people are stupid. Because farming's not sexy. But Yah tells us straight up, by the sweat of your brow, you will earn your bread. And,
Farming's hard.
you know, ask JP over here. She grinds the wheat to make the bread.
What's your grinder?
It's called a
Nutramil. The Nutramil. Like a Nutri-Grain bar, but a Nutramil.
Or a
We call it
NutriBullet, but you use your hand instead of a button.
It really looks like
The NutriBullet, but manual.
That sucker rolls through the wheat, man.
That's what teenagers are for. You're not there yet, but you know, one day.
I need a kitchen shed.
print too, just
Yeah, we
in
got-
case.
we got a couple
But we
Yeah.
upgraded for, the daily.
Oh yeah,
Because why not?
I feel that.
I need muffins.
A
Yeah.
lot of-
Well, and you can freaking cook too.
You can.
Yep, you can cook. All right, what other questions we got? Y'all been on here for about 2 hours, and we got to go stand around the sun tomorrow again and shoot guns. I can.
Machine
So
guns.
sad.
The agony.
Rough life, right? I've said it a couple of times today. It's like we have a cool life.
Suppressors and
Very cool
Pilatos.
life.
Yeah.
Hey, I just got a replacement bare minutes. I lost my 2.0 due to a bungee failure. Also got a boo-boo bucket. And I love both. The 2.0 was perfect. This one is perfect. My question, can I buy a decompression needle from you? Yes, sales at refugemedical.com. You will need a medical use authorization. It's basically a box that you check at checkout. And what that means is when you poke a hole in somebody, that's your problem, not mine. Okay?
Means you have to be medically authorized to use that device.
Yep. And so here's the thing.
If you're lying, it's still your fault.
The Good Samaritan Act does not cover poking new holes in people. Okay? And so for everybody who's like, I'm gonna take my folding knife and I'm gonna do a field expedient tracheotomy. No, you're not. You're gonna go to prison if you do that. So,
For your brother, not for a stranger.
all right, everyone, into the pool.
Did we get to 1,000 likes?
No, we're only at 730.
Oh.
We had 1,000.
We have to get 1,000 views or 1,000
Now,
likes.
you said 1,000 likes.
Try.
Are you planning on gravity flow or 12-volt pump to pressurize your water caster? 12-volt pump. 12-volt pump. Actually, a 110 pump with two 12-volt pump backups.
Hey,
And then-
our RV stuff for solar is freaking super, bro.
And then also, we have a 240 volt, 30 amp well pump as well, independent solar system. So,
Gotta get the inverters first.
hey, can I have my lighter back?
I don't have it. Is it this one?
Thank you. Dang, Bob, thou shalt not steal.
Oh no, Yankee is shot in the right arm and fell in the pool. Don't forget to fell in the pool. I'm more interested in that. Like, to be honest.
So real life outdoors. Here's the answer to your question. I've seen you post that a few times. Go read Deuteronomy 6 verse 4. Shema Yisrael, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahuwah Echad. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah is our God, Yahuwah is one. And BT Dubs, Yeshua, Yah made flesh. That is not the first time you see Yah made flesh in the Bible either. Read your damn Bible.
Yah is the Word. He is all throughout it. Hey, in the beginning was the Word.
And the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
And in the end, that Word is going to slice you to death.
That hurts. I don't think there's a pulse.
No.
No, you did good.
Somehow he's still dry.
I got to a point of bad words.
All right, push him in the pool.
In the pool!
Hit 1,000 likes.
There's 2,000 likes, y'all.
Good job, Yank.
You got like 5 minutes. Nope.
I even got it out of my right pocket with my left hand. That's how dedicated I was.
Thanks, Rusty. We're going to talk more about Uvalde tomorrow. I'm going to do my best to keep it together. It's going to be tough because I'm super passionate about that. I'll tell you this.
I learned this from Twitch today.
If you're a law enforcement officer that keeps me out of a school that my child is in while there's an active shooter situation going on,
You're a problem.
yeah.
Massive problem.
You're the problem.
You're a threat now. Congratulations.
Body cam footage coming out from that. It's a mess.
More intel about that. Some of the officers that had kids in that school ran in, got their kids out, and then came back out, stood the line, keeping the parents out.
Fire them all.
Are you, like, I don't mean to, are you for sure about that?
That is intel that I'm seeing on the internet. I was not there.
It's not verifiable
that's
yet.
I want to caution y'all.
Yeah.
I have been on the wearing end of body cameras and on the accusation end before. Give it a minute on the intelligence. I'm not saying they didn't do that nonsense. What I'm saying is nobody knows.
Right.
Nobody.
Well, the report is that they stayed outside waiting for SWAT.
Is that
it was
coming from
for 90
news
minutes.
outlets?
If that's true, that's freaking
Actual
BS.
ones?
Yeah, that's
Well, and
if that's accurate, that's all.
There's multiple outlets independently reporting that of one another, so it's not circular reporting. They stood outside while the parents heard the gunshots going on, trying to get past law enforcement officers that would not let the parents into the school.
Yeah, law enforcement
Yep.
officers detained.
Again,
Yeah.
if that's true, that is really, really bad.
Fired.
As a parent, if you're convicted to carry a firearm, and you would have been out there, I mean, I'm getting through the cops. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I don't care who the cops are.
Yep. Yeah, if you are in between me and my kid when somebody's shooting at my kid, you're part of the problem.
Here's
You're a
another
threat
thing.
now.
The onesies or twosies, guys, is how we arrest people. I can only arrest one person at a time. And that's
Good to
what we
know.
saw. 1 or 2 people, right, got arrested. The whole crowd of parents didn't get arrested. They arrest 1 or 2. They might tase or spray 1 or 2. I can spray a crowd, but I can't spray everyone.
OC spray's cute, bro.
And it's really important that you acknowledge that the one, like the individualism, it's got to go out the window. You have to have, you have to. Because if I go on my own into that situation, I'll be the one in handcuffs.
Yep.
If you go one of 30, you can't arrest y'all. Somebody's getting in the building.
Amen. Amen.
And tell your sheriff you're not stopping us.
And no matter way, for the love of God, every parent that was trying to get in the building hopefully had something to stop it. But you know they did.
Not all of them.
They become casualties too.
A couple more questions. And then we're going to call it a live stream. Been on here for 2 hours. What else we got, Bear Nation?
Amen, Whipple.
Awesome, Donald.
Whip!
It's a good rifle. PA-10.
He said willing to die or go to prison for my people.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Should I buy land with a loan? No. Next question. If I ever, no. A debtor is a slave. The rich rule over the poor, and a debtor is a slave to his debt. No. You should murder your debt right now. That's what you should do. And you should also see, everybody's like, I'm gonna get my 40 acres and a mule, and it's gonna be a Shangri-La, and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna throw your shit in a U-Haul and leave, and then figure it out. Yankee lived in my pantry, okay? No shit in my pantry. Like, hey man, can I get another can of beans? He's like, yeah, okay, here you go. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Phelps lived in my backyard for 13 months in a hammock. Okay? Get out.
I lived in a van
Both
with
had
a
Jeeps
pregnant
and both found
wife
wives.
on the other side of the creek.
Yep.
So there's no excuse. I had a very well-paying job trucking all of your chemicals all around the country, and I gave it all up for the promises that I made to myself and my family that I would protect them and provide for them so they don't have to worry about all the chaos in the Communist Republic of New Jersey.
I want to talk about worldly possessions real quick though, because I know that a lot of people struggle with giving up all of your crap. Okay, like I know that we want to keep our stuff. I paid for this thing, or I earned this thing, or whatever, this thing. It's just a thing, right? If you walk around your house and you see something that you haven't touched in 6 months, and it's a possession
Get rid of
that is not of extreme value, right? Or a useful tool like power tools or hand tools or other tools, right? Like if it's something that is not of actual legitimate value or is a useful tool that you will need to do something that is going to be important, get rid of it. You know, all the stuff that my mom and dad went through, we had totes of family pictures, 3/4 of which were people that have been gone for decades, and we don't know who they are.
Yep.
And it's like, it sucks. It sucks letting go of that stuff, but it's like, let's come to reality of, I don't need 100,000 photos. I need one photo of my mom, one photo of my dad, one photo of both of them together, one photo of all of us, right? Like, start getting rid of the excess.
Yep.
Cut it out. Cut out the fat. All that stuff that is stopping you, that is holding you back, is that fat right behind the kidneys, and it's not clean, and you don't want to eat it. Cut it out. Get rid of it. Make
Burn it
go away.
burn it to Yah.
Burn
That
it to
stuff
Yah,
goes to
man.
Yah. You know what? That stuff, you don't own that stuff, it owns you. And that's, you got to be very careful not to make idols out of your stuff.
Anything.
You
A
know,
rifle. You can
when-
make up guns.
When my dad died, my mom was like, hey, we got to go clean out his house. I was like, no, we don't. We don't have to do that. She's like, you don't want anything? I was like, I didn't say that, but I'm going to go clean out his house. I don't want a dead man's stuff. And so I got my dad's wallet, my dad's briefcase, and a couple of things off the wall. That's it. And it lives in a cardboard box that I don't mess with because I'm not in an emotionally strong enough place to mess with it right now. And you know what swayed me? I did open up his wallet, and the first thing you see when you open up his wallet was a picture of my kids, his grandkids. I lost it. Like, wow. I lost it. That has real sentimental value. But his pots and his pans and his dishes and his bed and his pillows, and I don't care. I don't care. We literally just gave it away to people in the neighborhood. Gave the house away. Gave the truck away. I don't need a dead man's stuff. I don't need all the stuff I have. I definitely don't need his stuff.
Right.
And so it's be very careful that your stuff doesn't own you. If you need to go, go. And don't think that, like, I'm gonna go buy a giant piece of land. Guys, it's stepping stones. It's stepping stones, because this is a biblical principle as well. He who can be trusted with little can be trusted with much. I didn't get the land that I got in Oklahoma. The Father did not open that door for me until we knew for 3 years we were leaving Texas. We prayed every day for land. Every day we prayed for land, for Yah's will to be done. And during that 3 years, we murdered our debt, and then we started like super hard suburban farming our 1/3 of an acre. It's like, well, why? I'm just going to leave anyway. No, stewardship, bro. If you can't be trusted with a third of an acre you have, why am I going to give you land?
Mm-hmm.
You said that on a video once. You talked about this story of you farming in suburbia. And my wife and I immediately went out, like I think it was the next week, and we just tilled up a huge section of our backyard, like next to our swimming pool. And we tilled it up and we started a garden. And you know, we had every intention of leaving, but I was like, if I can't steward this, if I can't take care of this, how the heck am I gonna get blessed with more?
Yep.
How the heck is he gonna give me something bigger?
Yep.
And it was like this huge, like that was a big mind shift for me. If you're not stewarding like what you have right now, what on God's green earth makes you think you're going to get a bigger piece of land or more sheep or more children or all these things? It's
So
very different.
check this out. I have a brother who was Oklahoma Highway Patrol, and he was doing a patrol one day, just driving around, and he's driving down this road that's barely a road, which there are a lot of in Oklahoma. And there's like a goat trail up the side of the road, and he drives past it, and the Spirit's like, stop. He's like, okay. So he stops, and he's like, what do I do? He's like, go down that road. He's like, I'm in a Dodge Charger. Like, I can't get down there. He's like, go down that road. And so he backs up, he goes down the road, and he's driving down the road, and he's like, I'm gonna get jumped by meth zombies, like, what am I doing? And the road just keeps going, and so he just keeps going. He gets to the end of this road, and there's a tent there. He gets out of the tent, and he hops out, and he goes, hello? And there's a voice from in the tent. They're like, hello? And he goes, hey, Oklahoma Highway Patrol, everybody doing all right? And they're like, yeah? Can we help you? And he's like, yeah, are y'all okay? And they're like, yeah, we're just praying. He's like, what are you praying about? And they're like, we just came out to this little piece of land, and we're sitting here praying that the Father would introduce us to some like-minded Torah observant people.
Well,
Bro.
what do you know?
Bro. And they left everything other than what would fit in their pickup truck. They got a tent. They bought a little 3-acre piece of land in the middle of nowhere, put their tent up on it, and like, what do we do now? We pray. And he's driving by, and he's like, yeah. And so
The Kuhim is real.
it's stepping stones, people. It's stepping stones. You don't. The Father is. We say all the time in the Christian church, He won't give you more than you can handle. Or shit. He will give you more than you can handle by yourself, because He wants you to lean on Him and to walk with Him. But if you're not stewarding what He has already given you, you should have no expectation of Him giving you more. It's deeply biblical. Old Testament and New Testament, the parable of the talents. He gave to one coin, he gave to one 5 coins, he gave to one 10 coins. And the guy that he gave 1 talent to, right, with talent is 72.7 pounds, right? 72.6 pounds. It's not an insignificant amount, right? That guy was so afraid that he was going to lose it that he just buried it. And then when the master comes back to the guy that had 5, he's like, good job, here's 10. The guy that had 10, he's like, good job, here's 50. The guy that had 1, he goes, what did you do? He said, I know that you're a harsh master and that you rule over your people with a rod of iron. It's Yeshua, by the way. And he said, so I was afraid, and I hid your talent in the ground. And he says, give me your talent. Give it to him who had 10. And he goes, well, wait a minute. Why would I give it to him? It's like, because I gave it to you to use, and you didn't use it. You buried it in the ground. You're not worthy to have it. You can't be trusted with little. Give to him who can be trusted with much.
Yep.
It's deeply biblical. So, should I go into debt to buy a piece of land? No, that's not biblical. And what kind of piece of land are you trying to buy? I know a lot of people who are like, especially city people, like,
Dude,
I
raw
want to buy
land
like,
is hard.
they're like, I want to buy like 100 acres. Have you ever seen 100 acres? What are you gonna do in 100?
I had
break
6.
an ankle and die on 100 acres.
I had
Like,
6 of raw land,
yeah,
and
raw
it
land.
was rough.
Yeah,
It's hard.
people don't get it,
No, man.
and that's the thing.
Oh.
If you can't steward your quarter acre lot, or your condo, how you gonna steward 100 acres?
Dude, brush hog 5 acres tells me.
Dude, and so I set foot on 3 to 5 acres of our land every day. That's the part I'm on, and that's because that's where the sheep and the cows are. Other than that, like the porch, the garden, the backyard, the gazebo,
Right.
and like I might go on a 4-wheeler ride through the woods occasionally. And so it's nice to have a big piece of land. It's nice to have standoff capability. All that stuff's nice to have, but you don't need a massive piece of land, and the Father's not going to give you a massive piece of land.
A little. You said something to me the other day that was good, wise counsel. You said you're like, instead of one big piece by
Yep.
yourself.
Yeah. What I was saying the other day to Yankee was, it's much better to have a small piece of land surrounded by brothers that have small pieces of land than it is to have a big piece of land by yourself.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, it's
You need people.
you
Get
gotta
people.
have people.
Well, and it gets to the point too that, at least for us, and I want to speak for us, but we feel so blessed that whenever He blesses you with a little more or a lot more, then you're like, oh crap, I don't know what more from Him will be because I can barely handle this much that He gave me.
I feel that.
Yeah, it's like,
I feel
I'm
that.
so blessed. It's like I don't even know what to do with it.
Overcome.
Yep, that's Deuteronomy 28. And if you diligently obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, then you will be blessed. And all these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you. And I didn't know what that meant until we started doing this. I was like, I am so freaking overtaken with blessings. And like, and even the problems that I have, the air quote problems, they're blessings.
Yeah.
They're just blessings. It's like, oh man, we got all these people. Blessing. Oh man, we got to do all this stuff. Blessing. Oh man, we got all these orders to fill. Blessing. Oh man, we got to go to Houston. Blessing.
Yeah, we don't have first world problems.
No.
We have problems.
I tell
Those
my
are some
wife,
pretty important problems.
I tell my wife all the time, we'll have conversations. I say, we do not have problems.
No.
We have blessings that we're struggling stewarding.
Yep.
That's-
Amen.
Like, okay, so I'll give you an example. I have my front left tire has a leak in it, right? A lot of people could be like, "Oh man, you gotta get a new tire." I tried the plug, it doesn't work, everything like that, or man, I don't know what's going on with it, right? You can see that as a problem. My left tire has a leak in it because I was in Kentucky doing disaster relief, helping other people, and that allowed me to coupe them. That's a blessing. It's
Yep.
not a problem.
Yep.
Like, it's just like,
Almost a nice reminder.
and it really, I
Yep.
feel that so gun up, and I'm like, it's okay, it's worth it.
I never brought it up. Like all the stuff that's in my van. You remember the last time I lost my ZT?
Yeah.
And I went on a mission trying to find it. It was a good thing that I looked for that, because the toilet that I have in my van was about to flip over and spill out. So because I was doing some electrical work in there for the solar system, if I would not have gone there looking for my ZT, oh, it would have been a bad ride.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
exactly. It's stuff like that. It's exactly right.
You'd have had a crappy day.
Yeah. So what you're saying was you went searching for Yah and rectified a shitty situation.
Exactly. That's it.
All right, y'all. We got stuff to do tomorrow. It's late, and I'm old, and I got to do the briefing in the morning.
Younger than me.
Quick shout out to SwitchPod. That is a brother who is trying to get close to Yah.
SwitchPod?
SwitchPod is his name.
SwitchPod.
He has been fighting to get closer to Yah. I knew him back when I was toying around with Babylon, and he was too. And dude, just keep doing it. Just keep walking towards it.
Yep.
You let me know when you want to bring your daughter out to come visit.
Yep. Praise
Seriously,
Yah.
man, come fellowship.
I don't see him, but shalom.
Seriously, keep walking towards it. Read the book.
Yep.
Read the book. You know it's there.
Yep. Praise Yah.
What is ZT?
Numbers 15, verse 37. Read it. Numbers 15, verse 37. Yeah. Bless y'all. Shalom. I'll see you in the morning. We're gonna do the brief early, and then we gotta do cool guy stuff at the range, and then we gotta drive home a bunch of hours. So
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.